there, but Schalke's plan with Karius, new contract at old salary. So, obviously, while Karius was playing, we figured, yeah, he would come back next year, assuming he wanted to. But then he got injured, and then, right, what do we do? We obviously want to have a competitive team out on the field, but we also don't want to keep people who have high salaries. And so it's a curious case of Loris Karius. What do we do with him? Do we get rid of him? His good play, was it attracting attention from elsewhere? Well, um, Kicker has given us a little bit of insight into that here. It says, for Loris Karius, the season is already over due to injury, but the 31-year-old could also be in Schalke's goal next season. When he substituted shortly before halftime in the match game against Fürth, there were tears of more serious injury, and the first examinations fueled concerns about an early end to the season, which Schalke then had to sadly announce after a special medical check at the beginning of the week. Loris Karius has sustained a structural muscle injury in his calf. The goalkeeper, whose left lower leg is currently wearing a special boot, will not be back on the pitch without restriction until the summer preseason for the next 25-26 year at the earliest. Will he remain at Schalke? That's currently questionable, given the club only signed the goalkeeper in January with a contract until the end of the season. Understandable, given that the former Champions League final goalkeeper for Liverpool had gained virtually no match practice in years before his signing, and the Royal Blues wanted to see what the goalkeeper could still do, the salary was set accordingly low, with the prospect of a significant increase upon signing a new contract in the summer if Karius proves himself on the pitch. Has he? The mind game of Manga and Yuri Mulder. Since the change of guard and goal, Karius took over from Justin Heckern at the end of February. The winter signing has only been able to demonstrate his ability in 3.5 matches. His superb debut in the 1-0 win against Preußen Münster gave him a player of the day rating from Kicker. Was followed by a solid performance in the 2-1 win against Hertha. His performance in the 2-1 defeat against Hanover was then a negative rating. Meanwhile, against Fürth, Karius left no doubt about his talent until his injury. Well, Schalke squad planners, including Ben Manga and Yuri Mulder, are firmly convinced that Karius has what it takes to be the first-choice goalkeeper next season. Their theory, the 31-year-old gets his new contract, but still at his old salary. If the goalkeeper then takes off, his salary will be adjusted soon, perhaps as early as winter. So, they're thinking, meaning Kicker, that I guess from Yuri Mulder and Ben Manga, that they feel good enough about what Loris Karius has done thus far, and so, give him the same contract as last year, which I like that part, and then if he improves or does well, you increase it in the wintertime. So, I know Loris Karius has always been a polarizing topic. Our goalkeepers in general have been a polarizing topic, right? We talked about a couple weeks ago about Heckeren versus Loris Karius. Has Karius really done a better job than Heckeren? I argue, and I talked with Jack on the podcast on Monday, that I think between the two goalkeepers, Loris Karius' reactions are actually better. And other people may have different opinions and think Heckeren's are better, and that's fine. I'm sure the fan base will be split on this because there'll be those who think Loris Karius hasn't done anything really. He had that huge gaff that cost us 3 points, 2 points, and he just makes all these silly mistakes. And then Justin Heckern should be number one. And there'll be another part of the fan base that thinks the opposite, where Heckern, had lots of gaffes and stuff like that, and Loris Karius really did produce really well. And so they would think, keep Loris Karius. I think we can all agree, if Schalke do decide to keep Loris Karius, keeping him at the old current price is the right thing to do. You do want to give him a raise. He didn't do anything to deserve it. He played 3.5 games, and he went out injured. That's not worthy of a raise. If it is, I need to go become a goalkeeper in professional soccer. Not that I'm any good at it. I'm not. So, I think we can all agree that if he comes back at the old price, the old current salary, is the right way to go. So the question is, do we want him back? I'm curious what everybody else thinks, because there are varying opinions, and I love reading all the comments on the thoughts on Karius versus Heckeren. Let's start with Justin Heckeren. I like Justin Heckeren. I really do. I would like him to stay at Schalke. Michael Longer is what, retiring after this year, right? Or he should. I think he was getting ready to, and then injury came back and he came back. Longer is basically done. So I think Heckeren needs to stay, if nothing else, to be another option for us. I do think it would be nice if we went out and found look for another goalkeeper, but I'd rather spend that money on the center backs. I think that's a bigger issue than the goalkeepers. So I'd love to see Justin Heckeren stay back and fight for a number one position. Now, Loris Karius, I think he should be. He should come back as well. I think 3.5 games, as Kicker pointed out. I mean, he's had 2.5 really good games, right? The debut win against Munster was sensational in that game, and then the Hertha Berlin match won that game there. Obviously had a terrible gaff. It was unexcusable what he did. Went for a punch, completely missed it. I mean, if you're gonna miss it, take out the guy at least, right? Uh, Inexcusable by him. But then he came back in the next game, and he made some big saves before he got injured. In the last game, he scored at Firth. They had 2 goals, but he was left out to dry. I don't think he was one at fault in that. Now, you could say what you want about a goalkeeper should be directing the defensive line to kind of general them where they need to go, but also center backs can take some responsibility as well. So both goalkeepers have their issues in that element of their game, but I think if we're being honest, both keepers, Heckeren and Karius, both are prone to making mistakes. Karius' entire career has been so it should be no surprise that he makes some gaff because he's been doing this his whole career, right? And then Heckeren, he's still young, and he's still making mistakes. But by no means do I think they're both trash. I think they're both serviceable. And I think having a player like Karius to at least take tidbits of and work with alongside him, I think this is really good for Justin Heckeren's development. He's only 21, 22 years old. He's a young guy still, and Karius is 31. So they can motivate each other, I think. And I think if Karius earns the number one spot, he can go by all means take it. So yeah, I say keep both guys. Keep Karius at his current salary, and yeah, if you want to throw him a bone after 6 months and give him a raise, sure, why not? If you have the funds for it. But I'd rather Manga and Mulder and the new sporting director come in and focus on the defense. Get some strong pieces there. Bring back Moritz Jens and Itakura. Bring them back, right? But bring some stabilized center backs and put Schallenberg so he can go back in the middle of the pitch because he's not a center back. I'm okay. I've seen some comments about people saying keep Felipe Sanchez another year because look what example I think I saw online on Twitter was look at Rafinha over Barcelona. First year he was terrible. People wanted him out. Second year he's one of the best players on that team. And so if Felipe Sanchez is as talented as Ben Manga hopes he is, next year will do really well for him to be there, and he'll hopefully become more comfortable in German and better off on the pitch. So I'm okay with keeping Sanchez and keeping some of the youngsters, but we'd have to move on from guys like Kaminsky, which we already talked about, no new contracts, unless he's taking a substantially cut deal. But focus on the center backs, focus on the back line in general, right? If we keep Tylen Bullet, great, keep him at right back. We need to have somebody at left back. Merkin does okay, right? Donkor, he does okay, and more, even though it's more up. But we need to find the back line, the center backs. We need to find that needs to be solidified first and foremost before the goalkeepers. I think the goalkeeper situation is fine if we keep these 2 guys there. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's good, but I think it's fine. If our defense gets better, they will at least have protection, and then we'll truly see how bad they are